Zira, the enigmatic leader of the outsiders in The Lion King 2, has long been one of the franchise's most intriguing villains. With her sharp features, piercing gaze, and unrelenting devotion to Scar, she stands out as a character defined by vengeance and loyalty. But while her actions and motivations are explored in Simba's Pride, one question remains unanswered. Where did Zira come from? Could her origins trace back to a time before Scar's rise, connecting her to the mysterious outsiders introduced in Mufasa? The outsiders of Mufasa, led by the cunning and ambitious Kiros, are a group that lives beyond the Pride Lands, shaped by rejection and survival. Their disdain for the traditional order mirrors Zira's own ideology, making her a potential link between the two worlds. Unlike the Pridelanders, who embrace harmony and balance, these outsiders thrive on chaos and power struggles. Zira's demeanor, her distinct appearance, and her willingness to sacrifice even her family for a cause align eerily with the traits of Kiros's group. But what could connect Zira to the outsiders of Kiros? Could she have once been one of them, learning their ways and adopting their worldview before meeting Scar? Or did Scar, during his tumultuous youth, encounter these outsiders and bring Zira into his fold as an ally? The possibilities are endless, and they deepen the mystery of Zira's character. In this exploration, we'll uncover parallels between Zira and the outsiders of Kiros, imagining how their ideology could have influenced her rise as Scar's most loyal follower. We'll also dive into a speculative narrative about how Zira and Scar might have crossed paths, shaping their destinies and the future of the Pride Lands. By the end, we'll see how this connection could reframe Zira's story, transforming her from a mere villain into a product of rejection, resilience, and revenge. Join us as we unravel the untold story of Zira, a tale that stretches far beyond The Lion King 2 and into the heart of Mufasa's untamed wilderness. Zira's presence in The Lion King 2 is marked by traits that set her apart from the Pridelanders, both in appearance and ideology. When we look at the outsiders introduced in Mufasa, striking parallels begin to emerge. These connections suggest that Zira might have once been part of Kiros's clan, shaped by their rejection of the Pridelands order and their survivalist worldview. One of the most immediate similarities lies in appearance. Zira's distinct features, her light-colored fur, angular frame, and piercing eyes, don't align with the softer, more harmonious designs of the Pridelanders. Instead, her appearance echoes the outsiders of Kiros, who are similarly distinct in their sharper features and lean physiques. This visual distinction sets her apart, reinforcing the idea that she might have originated from outside the Pridelands. Beyond physical traits, Zira and the outsiders share a common ideology rooted in rejection and vengeance. In Mufasa, Kiros's clan is portrayed as a group cast aside by the established order, turning their bitterness into a survivalist creed. Similarly, Zira's worldview is defined by a deep-seated resentment toward Simba and the Pridelanders. Her loyalty to Scar is not just personal, it represents a rejection of the very principles that define the circle of life. For Zira, Scar embodies a promise of power and order that defies the traditional balance upheld by Mufasa and later Simba. Zira's treatment of her own family also mirrors the ruthless hierarchy seen among Kiros's followers. Kiros, driven by ambition, prioritizes power over loyalty to his own. Zira exhibits a similar pattern, often neglecting or outright dismissing her eldest son, Nuka, while placing all her hopes on Kovu as a tool to fulfill Scar's legacy. Her willingness to sacrifice personal bonds for her cause aligns closely with the survivalist and utilitarian mindset of Kiros's clan. These parallels raise compelling questions about Zira's origins. Could her ideology and appearance be remnants of a past life among Kiros's outsiders? Or did Scar, during his own journey of rejection and resentment, encounter this group and bring Zira into his fold? As we delve into her possible connection with Scar in the next chapter, these similarities lay the groundwork for a deeper understanding of Zira's story. The origins of Zira's unwavering devotion to Scar remain a mystery in The Lion King 2, but if we explore her potential connection to Kiros's outsiders, a plausible narrative begins to form. What if Zira, as a young and ambitious lioness, crossed paths with Scar during a pivotal moment in their lives? This encounter could explain not only her loyalty, but also her alignment with Scar's vision for a new order within the Pride Lands. Imagine Scar during his youth, still known as Taka, living under the shadow of his older brother Mufasa. His resentment for being overlooked as the next king begins to fester, driving him to explore beyond the Pride Lands. In his search for validation and allies, he stumbles upon Kiros's outsiders, a group of lions who, like him, feel cast out by the established order. Their survivalist mentality and rejection of traditional pride values resonate deeply with Scar, who finds in them a reflection of his own inner turmoil. Zira could have been a member of this clan, shaped by their ideals of vengeance and power. As a young lioness, Zira might have admired Scar for his cunning and ambition, seeing him as someone who shared her disdain for the rules that governed the Pride Lands. Their connection could have been forged in this shared rejection, with Zira pledging her loyalty to Scar as a kindred spirit. This bond would have strengthened over time, especially as Scar ascended to power after Mufasa's death. Zira, now fully committed to Scar's vision, might have left Kiros's clan to follow Scar into the Pride Lands. Her devotion becomes not just a personal allegiance, but a continuation of the outsider's ideology, an attempt to establish a new order where rejection and survival are celebrated over harmony and balance. Scar's eventual demise would only deepen Zira's commitment. Losing him to Simba's rule would have felt like a betrayal, reigniting the bitterness she carried from her days as an outsider. This explains her fanatical desire to avenge Scar, raising Kovu as a tool to reclaim power and fulfill Scar's legacy. Her loyalty isn't just to Scar the lion, it's to the shared vision they crafted, one rooted in defiance and the ideals of the outsiders. As we move forward, we'll explore how this backstory shaped Zira's actions in The Lion King 2, influencing her interactions with Simba, Kiara, and Kovu. Zira's potential connection to Kiros's outsiders and her shared vision with Scar profoundly influenced the trajectory of the Pride Lands after Mufasa's reign. Her rejection of Simba's rule and her determination to avenge Scar became the driving forces of conflict in The Lion King 2, shaping not only her actions, but also the lives of those around her. If Zira's roots indeed trace back to the outsiders, her actions can be understood as a continuation of their ideals, an ideology of survival, vengeance, and rebellion against tradition. Zira's leadership style mirrors the values she may have inherited from the outsiders. Like Kiros, who prioritized power and survival above all else, Zira uses her position to instill these principles in her pride. Her treatment of Nuka, Vitani, and Kovu reveals a harsh, utilitarian mindset, where individual worth is determined by one's ability to serve the greater cause. Nuka's desperate attempts to gain her approval, coupled with her unwavering focus on grooming Kovu as Scar's heir, highlight a fractured dynamic rooted in Zira's survivalist mentality. This mindset also informs Zira's approach to the Pride Lands. Unlike Simba, who values unity and balance, Zira seeks domination. Her plan to use Kovu to infiltrate and overthrow Simba is not just a personal vendetta, it's an ideological war. By placing Kovu in a position of power, Zira aims to dismantle the circle of life and establish a new order that aligns with the outsider's vision. Her obsession with vengeance blinds her to the potential for reconciliation, perpetuating the cycle of rejection and conflict. However, Zira's ideology doesn't exist in a vacuum. Her actions force the Pridelanders to confront their own values and reconsider their approach to leadership. Simba's initial mistrust of Kovu reflects his fear of repeating past mistakes, but Kiara's determination to build bridges between the two prides ultimately challenges Zira's worldview. In this sense, Zira's presence becomes a catalyst for growth within the Pridelands, pushing Simba and Kiara to embody the true spirit of unity and balance. Zira's tragic end, refusing Kiara's offer of peace and falling to her death, symbolizes the ultimate cost of clinging to vengeance and rejection. Yet, her legacy lingers, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked bitterness and the enduring impact of ideologies shaped by rejection and survival. As we conclude, we'll reflect on how Zira's potential connection to Kiros's outsiders reframes her story and enriches the Lion King universe. Zira's story, when viewed through the lens of a possible connection to Kiros's outsiders, becomes far more than just a tale of vengeance and loyalty. It evolves into a narrative shaped by rejection, survival, and the scars left by a broken past. By tying her origins to the outsiders, we uncover a deeper layer to her motivations, one rooted in a shared ideology that defied the harmony of the Pride Lands. If Zira was indeed one of Kiros's outsiders, her devotion to Scar and her actions in The Lion King 2 take on a new meaning. Her loyalty to Scar becomes more than admiration for a leader. It becomes an extension of the outsider's ideals, with Scar representing an opportunity to challenge the traditional balance of the circle of life. Zira's actions, from grooming Kovu to overthrow Simba, to her outright rejection of Kiara's offer of peace, reflect a character who is unable to let go of the ideology that defined her existence. Yet Zira's story is also a cautionary tale about the cost of holding on to bitterness. Her refusal to embrace reconciliation ultimately leads to her downfall, leaving her pride to grapple with the consequences of her actions. Through this lens, Zira's character becomes a tragic figure, someone who could not escape the shadows of her past and was consumed by the very ideals she sought to uphold. Reflecting on Zira's story invites a broader discussion about how rejection and survival shape individuals and communities. It's a narrative that resonates beyond the confines of The Lion King, exploring themes of identity, belonging, and the consequences of ideological division. By connecting Zira to Kairos's outsiders, we add depth not only to her character, but also to the Lion King universe as a whole, enriching the lore with a tale that spans generations and ideologies. As we conclude, one question lingers. What if Zira's connection to Kiros's outsiders had been explored further in the films? It's a tantalizing thought that adds even more intrigue to her character. Perhaps Zira's story, with its layers of complexity and tragedy, reminds us that even the most divisive characters are shaped by their pasts and the choices they make in the face of rejection. What do you think? Could Zira's connection to the outsiders change how we see her story? Share your theories in the comments, and let's keep the conversation about The Lion King's most enigmatic villain alive.